Hey guys, welcome back to Mentorship CEO. If you're new or you're returning and haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button. Is the red button on the bottom right of your screen. Also turn the notification on so that you can know when I post a video, and you can give this video a thumbs up already, because trust me, it's good. And if you haven't, and if you don't want to do it now, you can do it at some point when you hear something that you like. So in this video I decided, let me just run through my Rolex collection from my first watch to the one that I have currently on right now. If you guys want, you guys could actually check out my other videos where I have also really watch reviews on the watches that I've had. But this one I'm just gonna run through, let you guys know what I like, what I don't like about them, why maybe I sold one, what maybe made me buy the watch in the first place. So hopefully you guys enjoy. I'm gonna be looking at my phone because I have the pictures that I'm gonna be putting up on the screen. I have some free time right now, so I just came up with this random idea just to run through all the watches, especially Rolex. Most of them are Rolex. And yeah guys, let's go. The first picture I'm gonna put up, this is the picture that I saw of my first Rolex watch. I saw it online. If you guys look at it, it doesn't look too appealing. And this is one thing that I've learned, is that especially when you're buying a watch online, sometimes people don't pick, especially from a private seller, they don't take the best pictures. So what I would recommend always is to maybe reach out to the person, have them send you maybe better pictures, close-ups, or just go see the watch in person. Because this one, I took a risk. At that time, I was going between maybe 3-4 Datejust watches just like this, 1601s, and actually maybe one of them was a 16013, but I think it was out of my price range at that point. But I saw this one and I fell in love with it. As bad as the condition looks in this, to me, I mean it was a beautiful watch, especially when I saw it in person. The bracelet, of course, is stretched. That's a typical thing, especially with these Jubilee bracelets. But this one, especially when I got it in person, and I seen it in person, it was a no-brainer. I had to get it. So it's a Rolex Datejust 1601. I believe it's a 1972 champagne dial, non-quickset. And when I looked at this picture online, I saw that it came with, of course, this Rolex service box. So that was one thing that made me comfortable and see, like, okay, it came with the service box, the hang tag, and the red box, not knowing that it came with a little bit more. As you guys will be able to see in my next picture, it came with 2 Rolex spoons. I don't plan on really using these spoons, but it was definitely interesting. This was the first time I learned about Rolex having spoons, Rolex spoons, actually authentic spoons. It was something new to me, but till this day I still have those spoons. And yeah, now the next picture I'm gonna show is the same watch, but just after I bought a new bracelet for it. Sometimes the bracelet could make or break the watch, especially when you look at it. And of course I got the new bracelet, and here it is in the red box, looking as good as can be. I love the champagne dial. The only thing that was not so good about this watch was the bezel being over polished. I've mentioned that before in a previous video, where I said one thing I look for is condition. And of course this was my first watch, but it still had a beauty to it. It still had charm to it. And yeah, the case was polished, not poorly polished, but you could tell that a lot of the metal was taken off. But I love this watch because it had the raised acrylic crystal. That's the pretty much plastic crystal, but it definitely has a visual to it that I enjoy. Next is everything that came with it. Like I said, it came with the red box, which is beautiful. I don't know, I like that colored. The hang tag, the service paper booklet, and the cloth that you could use to clean the watch. I was definitely happy it came with all those things, and I still have those things till this day. So yeah, guys, that was my first watch, the Rolex Datejust 1601. I feel like it's a good starter watch, two-tone. I believe this one was the 14 karat and stainless steel. They come in 14 karat gold or 18 karat gold. So yeah, don't judge a watch off of a picture. Some pictures don't really bring out the beauty of it. As you can see, all it needed was a cleanup. And most of my watches, when I first buy them, I would clean it with a toothbrush and water and just wipe it up, and it looks brand new. With these acrylic crystal, they get scratches easily, but there's this solution. Also, you can just polish it, but there's this solution that you could just put on a cloth and just wipe it, and even deep scratches come up just like that easily, and it looks brand spanking new and shiny. So guys, that was my first Rolex watch that made me fall in love with Rolex. Now, I wore this watch for a long time because it go with everything. It was my first Rolex, and there was no reason to really get rid of it. Next would be the Rolex Sub 16610. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with Rolex subs, these steel Rolexes, whether it's the Explorer, the Sub. I don't see why the prices are where they are today. This watch today, you'll have to, on the bottom line, you could get it for maybe $7 on a private, but even the private guys are asking for a high price. So maybe $7.5, $8. I've even seen them going up to $9. I mean, of course, it depends on if you have papers, box, and all these other things. I don't know why papers really make certain watches go high up in value. I believe paper brings value to a watch that's rare or really older and like vintage, like maybe in the 70s, 60s, that way. A collector's watch. But for this watch, this was a 1989, I believe. I think it was a X serial. And guys, I fell in love with the watch for the hype of it. Everyone was after these steel subs. It's a 40mm case, but over time I realized the 40mm case didn't agree with me. Of course, it looked great depending on my outfit, depending on what I'm wearing, but a lot of times I realized maybe it's too big, and it felt cheap. I don't know if that's the best word to use for it. The bracelet, the clasp was really flimsy. That's the part that really felt cheap. It wasn't the actual watch. It was just the bracelet and the clasp. And after paying how much I paid for it, I felt like, okay, this watch, it doesn't show the value of it, and I had to let it go. For most of my watches, when I just buy them, I take it to a watchmaker. I have it opened up, so as you guys can see this picture right here, I open it up, seen the movement, give it the stamp of approval, make sure it's running well, and yeah, this one was in tip-top condition. Would I ever buy another steel sub? I don't know. Maybe a much later model, because I do like the military subs with the domed acrylic crystal and maybe a red sub or something like that, maybe. But as far as these regular ones, they don't really appeal to me. I feel like they're really overpriced. If you guys agree with me, comment down below on that, where these steel subs, they're going out of control. Steel Explorers, they just doesn't make sense to me when gold is such a much more valuable material, and they're pretty much maybe at the same price or less. Anyways, next was a beautiful watch, the Rolex Submariner, of course, another 40mm, 16/6/13. This watch caught my attention based off the blue dial. The blue dial and the blue bezel. It's like a royal, I don't want to call it royal, but a royal blue maybe. It just stood out in person, in pictures. It just popped. It's the 18 karat stainless steel. The reason why it wasn't a keeper or one that I would say I could never sell it was because it wasn't the solid center link, and the gold didn't go through the clasp. I know a lot of people know what I'm talking about, especially if you're familiar with these watches. I love it when the gold goes straight through the clasp. This one had the stainless steel clasp, which is kind of like it's like it broke off the flow of the gold through the bracelet. So yeah, if I see another one that has the solid end link, solid center link, and the gold running through the clasp, I would pick it up right away. Also with this one, you could get between the hose case and the no hose case. For me, doesn't matter. Next, after the Rolex Submariner 16613, the next watch I picked up was another Rolex Datejust blue dial, which when it comes to Rolex, blue dials are way more desirable. This one was unpolished, everything was sharp, especially comparing to the first Rolex Datejust that I had, 1601, just like this, just a different dial. Had the same pipe pan dial, 18 karat gold. This one was definitely 18 karat gold. My previous, I think it was 14 karat. So yeah, 18 karat gold, stainless steel, everything original, bracelet, original Rolex bracelet and clasp, in mint condition, running perfectly. I bought this off of a private seller. The guy really didn't want to sell the watch, but you know, times was kind of hard, I think, for him, so he let it go. I didn't really get it at a deal or a steal to say, but the price was okay for, let's say, to resell it. I would still get the margins was good. This watch overall was good to me, but I started to see that the blue dial wasn't popping enough. It was only nice in the sunlight, and sometimes it would give me an effect of it being a black dial. It wasn't so popping when it was just in regular light. So that was pretty much the only downfall with that watch, but I still enjoyed it for the perfection of it being unpolished, the crystal perfect. The crystal was untouched with no scratches, no chips. And yeah, that watch was great. A lot of people enjoyed it. Of course, I opened up the watch again. This picture you see, of course, is the movement, and everything looks 100%. Now, you guys really see the pattern here. Datejust is what I gravitate to, and you'll see as I continue going that Datejust is the watch for me, especially in the 36mm case. So After this Rolex Datejust 1601, the next watch was another Rolex Datejust, but way out of the vintage realm. It was a 2006 116233 and 18 karat gold, solid end link, solid center link, the gold running through the clasp, Roman numeral dial, champagne dial, and came with everything. Came with box, papers, booklets. What more could someone ask for if you're collecting watches? So this watch was perfect, but not for me. And let me explain why. The watch over time started to feel more, I don't want to say feminine, but when I gave it to someone else to wear, it would look way better on that person's wrist. And it came to a point where I was like, okay, I'm really, even though I love enjoying watches and love seeing watches on other people, especially my watches, it was a little too weird, where it was like, this, it doesn't even feel like my watch anymore. So even though it was a 36mm case, it felt bigger because of the dimensions of the watch. The lugs was thicker, of course, compared to the 1601, and it felt a little heftier, of course. Solid center links. It was a upgraded watch, upgraded movement. This one was a quick set movement. And yeah, guys, I love the champagne dial, the Roman numerals. When I had this Roman numeral watch, I started seeing that, okay, I love Roman numerals, and maybe that's my trend to come. So next, after this watch was, let me see, another Datejust. And this one was a 16233 white dial, and guess, Roman numeral dial, Roman numeral hour markers. This watch, I fell in love with it the first week, but then afterwards the white dial started to seem not so much me. Yes, it popped on my skin. Certain things I look for, especially, is gold. Gold pops on my skin, my complexion, and the white popped also. But over time I started to realize, okay, between the white and champagne, which I've had a trend of champagne Datejust, which one do I prefer? And champagne was it. Now, when I was looking at this white dial Datejust, it was between two watches. It was between a black dial, a same 16233, and this white dial. And for some reason I gravitated towards the white, because I never had a white dial watch before, or something that bright. So the light dial kind of was something I wanted to test out, and I said I tried it out, and it just wasn't for me. Again, it was a watch that seemed more for a lady, or more dressy. So yeah, it was great for me, but I needed to be in more of like a button-up, suit and tie type of setting, and I wanted something that was really in between, where I could wear it suit and tie, but also wear it with a t-shirt and go about my day. So this watch came just a watch, no box, no papers, but it held its value because it was a quick set, in good condition, and yeah, I enjoyed it for a little bit and let it go. Now guys, after this one, the next one was the one that I have on my wrist right now. Let me give you guys a close-up, a wristwatch check. And this one is the Rolex Datejust 16233. Now, this one checked off everything that I'm really looking for, except for having Roman numeral hour markers. It has the 36mm case. It has the fluted bezel, champagne dial, tapestry dial, I must add, because I never thought I'd be able to find one like this with the tapestry dial. Let me pop it up on the screen. What else? Jubilee bracelet. Guys, between the Jubilee bracelet and the Oyster bracelet, when it comes to Datejust, Jubilee is what I lean mostly towards. It just appeal more to me. Oyster bracelets is great, but for more on the Submariner or the Explorer, the real sporty watches. It was kind of like a love-hate for my 116233 having a Oyster bracelet, but it grew on to me. I mean, it wasn't my first choice. Like, if I could have found one with the Jubilee bracelet, I would have been happy, especially with the concealed clasp, and it was just like, seemed like the perfect thing for me. But anyways, it did its job with the Oyster bracelet. Anyways, back to what I have right now. This one is a quick set movement, in perfect condition, unpolished. The crown on the clasp, well defined. Everything running perfectly. Watch has been tested, keeping perfect time, and yeah, this watch didn't come with box and papers, but I have Rolex boxes and booklets and stuff like that. So technically, you know, when it comes to papers, I'm not so much of a fanboy about having papers for the watches. I only really go crazy for it knowing about maybe reselling it, selling it, and the other person being hyped of having the papers and willing to pay more for whatever reason. I feel like as long as the watch is authentic, everything is original, I'm happy. Some people, they go crazy and think maybe the papers determine the watch to be authentic and real, when really papers could be fabricated and made up and faked and all that stuff. But once the watch is real, I'm wearing the watch. I'm not wearing papers on my chest or on my wrist. The watch is really what's important to me. So yeah guys, that's a quick little run through of my Rolex watch collection throughout, from my first to the one that I'm wearing right now. If you guys like, just comment down below. Let me know which watches have you guys gone through, and which one in my collection you like or don't like. Yeah guys, give this video a thumbs up, dislike it if you like, and you know, comment down below. I will respond. Share the video. Also guys, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, mentorship.ceo, where I post a little bit more content, and check out my app Mentorship on iOS and Android. It's 100% free, and it's where you or anyone that you know can find a mentor and be a mentor. I'm using professional and personal interests and your personality and everything else that goes, whether it's your job history, your degree, where you live, and using all that information to help find the right mentor or mentee for you. So you never know who in your life is seeking a mentor currently. So what I would recommend is share this video, or just share my link to my Instagram, where they'll actually see a little bit more of the app. Download it on iOS and Android. Sign up today and start connecting.